gripping psychological horror, exploring the twisted realms of the devil's birthright. In the desolate outskirts of a forgotten town, a young pregnant girl named Emily found herself abandoned and alone. With nowhere else to turn, she sought refuge in a dilapidated house that oozed with decay and malevolence. The house stood as a sinister monument to forgotten horrors. Its walls were coated in a sickly layer of grime, and the air was thick with the stench of decay. Every step echoed through the corridors, as if the house itself was alive and breathing in the darkness. Night after night, Emily's dreams became a relentless descent into a macabre realm. Visions of death, blood-soaked nightmares, and agonizing screams consumed her slumber, leaving her trembling and disoriented upon waking. Her once serene face turned haggard, etched with deep lines of distress. Within the house, an unseen presence taunted her. Whispers echoed through the shadows, insidious and maddening. Emily often found herself frozen in fear, paralyzed by the malicious whispers that slithered through her mind. As the days crawled on, Emily's connection to reality grew increasingly tenuous. The decaying house seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, its twisted corridors shifting and warping before her eyes. Ghostly apparitions flickered in the corners of her vision, their hollow gazes piercing her soul. Driven to madness by the relentless onslaught of her delusions, Emily's grip on sanity began to crumble. She found herself conversing with imaginary demons, their voices a cacophony of terror and despair. Shadows danced and writhed, assuming grotesque forms that tormented her with their unnatural contortions. As the time of her delivery neared, Emily's mind teetered on the edge of the abyss. The walls seemed to close in around her, adorned with sinister paintings that twisted and warped, revealing grotesque scenes of demonic rituals and sacrificial offerings. The night of childbirth arrived, and Emily was left to face her darkest fears alone within the decaying house's confines. Sweat poured down her forehead as agonizing contractions ripped through her body. The air grew thick with a sickly sweet metallic scent, as if the house itself hungered for the bloodshed to come. With a primal scream, Emily gave birth to her child, her body convulsing with the intensity of the pain. The room seemed to darken as if a malevolent force was summoned forth by the birthing process. The newborn emerged covered in a slimy film, but there was no joy in Emily's eyes, only abject horror. As she looked upon her child, Emily's heart froze in her chest. The infant's once innocent face twisted and contorted, resembling a grotesque parody of humanity. Blood-red eyes glared back at her, devoid of any semblance of innocence or warmth. The room reverberated with a bone-chilling laughter that seeped into the very marrow of her bones. Her mind shattered under the weight of the revelation. She recoiled, unable to comprehend the abomination she had birthed. The house seemed to convulse in perverse celebration as the cries of the newborn echoed through its decaying corridors. Driven by a primal instinct, Emily made a fateful decision in the depths of her terror. She abandoned the child, leaving behind the haunted house and the devil's seed within. Her mind fractured further, consumed by guilt and a primal fear that gnawed at her soul. Haunted by the memories of that forsaken house, Emily fled into the night, seeking solace from the madness that had engulfed her. The cries of her forsaken child echoed in her mind, a constant reminder of the darkness she had birthed. Years passed, and Emily roamed the earth, a wraith-like figure trapped in her personal purgatory. The guilt and regret clung to her like a spectral shroud, driving her to the brink of madness. She heard the whispers in the wind, felt the weight of her choice pressing upon her with each passing day. And so, Emily existed as a tormented soul, forever haunted by the blood-stained memories of a dilapidated house, a child forsaken, and the echoing screams that reverberated within her tortured dreams. The price she paid for her choices was a lifetime sentence, a haunting reminder of the evil that can dwell in the darkest recesses of the human heart.